Hey Void, got one more for you guys before I finish up, so might as well get another one in. So, I decided to just keep milking this collection a little bit more and just do 2 in a row from it. Maybe I'll do 3. Feeling frisky. Anyway, can barely see it there, but there's no focus. Horror of the Zombies. Okay, so this one's a bit of a throwback. 1974. It's a Spanish film by Armando de Osorio. And it actually was part 3 of the Blind Dead quadrilogy. I've not actually seen any of the Blind Dead series before, but I'm familiar with it, particularly Night of the Seagulls, which is the 4th part. So, okay. I don't know nearly as much going in, so I don't know how this one stacks up to some of the other ones, but it definitely had a distinct style. Okay. So, what the Blind Dead series is mostly about is a series of films involving undead knights Templar that turned their backs on the holy mission and became Satan worshippers that are now condemned to walk the earth and feed upon the living. Now, I don't know exactly why it's called Blind Dead. It might go into that into the earlier films, because I honestly have no idea whether these undead creatures could see or not. Maybe it's a reference to blind faith, but I don't know. I'll admit it. I really don't know. And I haven't looked into it. If I happen to get a copy of any of the earlier Blind Dead films, maybe I can enlighten you all. Or someone can, let me know. Now, my issue watching this one was it's a Spanish movie, and I'm never opposed to a subtitle film. But this one's dubbed. So, and poorly. And that took a little bit out of it. I'm trying not to penalize it too much for that, but it was distracting. So, now, this one, it calls it Horror of the Zombies on the cover here, but I believe it's more commonly known by the ghost Galleon, which is a name that makes much more sense. The actual Spanish title was, one moment, El Buque Maltido, which I believe is Ghost Galleon, but I could be entirely wrong on that. Anyway, so this is about a modeling agency that is trying to do some big publicity stunt by essentially stranding 2 models out in the Atlantic Ocean on a speedboat. That's with the aim of getting them picked up in some weird publicity thing that I don't know exactly what their end goal here is, but it's weird. And I don't know if it was really thought through, but advertising people are doing shady advertising things. That's the takeaway. And when the roommate of one of the models who's out there is investigating, she pretty much gets taken captive by the model mafia. Anyway, but they are in radio contact with the people that are stranded out there, because it is publicity. They don't want them to actually be stranded, but they have radio contact and can send a helicopter or something to pick them up if there are problems. Well, there are problems. Mostly a ghost ship just seems to sidle up on them after the fog rolls in, things get hot, which damages their boat, and now they're stuck. Well, they dispatch the helicopter can't find them. And one of the 2 girls decides that, hey, our boat's leaking, I'm going up on the Galleon. And she is never seen again. Other girl goes up and encounters the Blind Dead. So, the real winners of the film, because most of the people are kind of unpleasant, I will say. So the people that are going out there are the 2 people who are behind this whole ad campaign, the shady financier and the, I don't know their exact roles, but two men that are kind of on the shady end. The woman that kind of supplied them with the models, the roommate who's been dragged along taken captive, and a scientist. Okay, so the scientist they contacted when they're trying to figure out some things, but he's telling them straight out that the weather patterns they're describing don't fit that region ever, particularly the fog. But when he hears about the mention of Galleon, he says that it's obviously this haunted Galleon, and that because of the rumors that whoever encounters it is never seen again. And despite being a scientist, he goes into the most superstitious rant possible. And he begs to come along because he has to see the ghost Galleon. Even though no one else is believing him that that's what it is, but sure, we'll take the scientist along. And then it proceeds to be about hour and 15 minutes of them running around a boat and encountering zombies off and on. Okay, so there are some very effective shots in this movie, I will say that. There is some tension that's built up around the blind dead. Now, the dead themselves do look like hot walking Halloween decorations. I will say that. But something about the way they move and the ominous chanting that's around them and the fact that they look fake, but how they are interacting does look unsettling. So, in a way, it works in the movie's favor. So, there is that. Overall, there isn't too much in terms of gore effects in this one, but what is there works. Mostly it's one body getting dismembered before the blinded eat it, but they don't really focus on the eating, unlike most zombie films. There's them using swords to hack it apart, but beyond that, not too much in terms of actual gore in the film. But despite the weird shambly progression, there are some unsettling scenes of like a woman trying to crawl away from them only to be dragged back in. And so I'm kind of mixed on this one, really. I mean, the dubbing's awful, and the quality of the print I watched wasn't good. But some visuals for this will stick with me. I'm not sure if it's enough to get it up into the 3 range, but I'm wavering between 2 and 3 on this one. Because it is a very slowly paced movie. And that can be hard to deal with. I was almost getting a little dozy at points during it. Like, the way the Undead move is slow, and there's plenty of parts that could have been trimmed and tightened. Particularly, like, you'll see every part of a character being running before being dragged back, and then there's a lot of back and forths, and it's a very slow, methodical film, but it doesn't need to be. And it gets a little weird indicating that they're, like, in this other dimension that the ghost ship exists in, and they're trapped there because of the blind dead. Like, other ships won't see them unless they want to be seen, so it throws a whole lot at you without going into it other than the devil's behind it. Oh, Mephistopheles. So, I'm probably going to give this one a 2, but it was almost at a 3. It's a little too slow, the dubbing is hard to get behind, and a lot of the characters, you don't care if they make it. So despite the some chilling shots, and the interesting look that the blind dead have, I'm going to have to give this one a 2. But I would be interested in seeing other films in the series, I will say that. Alright. All for this one. There's not too much really to go on it. Have a good night.